For my repurposing project, I'll be making a tire swing. For this certain video, I'm going to be using chain instead of rope because that's what I had on hand. I have a lot of extra this chain. It should be plenty strong for a human. I have a flathead screwdriver just in case I need to poke a hole a little bit better. I'm not sure if these cut the rubber, so I'm gonna try that out. If you want your project to be completed to perfection, which you can if you would like, you can use a good old tape measure. For my holes, I'm going to be using just a wood drill bit and a screwdriver. And if we go over here, we have our nice stand that is completed with our tire that I'm going to be using for this project. Now this tire was just one that was on my truck and I had no use for, so I decided, hey, I'll just use this for a repurposing project. So I'm going to be drilling 4 holes, one on this side, one on that side, one over there, and one over here. And I'll catch you right back when I'm done with that. After drilling the holes, I realized that is not going to be big enough. All 4 of these are not going to be big enough with that just singular circle drill hole. So next what I'm going to do is use this and try and open up the hole a little bit more. And whenever I get the hole big enough, all 4 of them, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm gonna push the chain through and ring it up and tie them together and make sure they're all the same length so they end up all 4 attaching to each other at the top for one chain link to the top. Now, if you're going to be using rope for this process, it'll make it a little bit easier because all you'll need to do is push the rope in that singular hole, which you can do with a circle rope, shove her on in there, tie a knot on the bottom, make sure it's a proper knot. You don't want them to become loose and fall off when you're riding it, and then it'll just pull itself up through pressure. That would be the cleanest way to do it, but I want to use whatever I have around the house. So I'm going to be cutting that hole a little bit wider now, and then I will get back. For the next part, you're going to want to measure your chain out. As you can see, I pulled the chain out, and I pulled the tape measure out, and I measured 3.5 feet, which goes to about right 42 inches. So right about here. And as you can see, the chain link isn't going to be perfect, so I'm going to have to cut it a little early on that 3.5 feet. And I have this to cut that. But if we go back over here, sorry about that little movement. The way I measured it is, I didn't want the chain to all connect right here because I wanted us to have enough room to sit underneath it. So I measured about 3 feet, which goes up there. And just for good measure, I might cut 4 feet. So I have plenty of room to sit in there. And if I go back over here, I can pull out some more and measure to 4 feet. And once I cut all 4 of those, I'll get right back. This is going to be a difficult process right here, but as you can see, I have all 4 chains cut. And when you're using the chain, the easiest way to do it would be to have the trimmed side, let me focus in on that, have the trim side go into the tube, tire, and then go and wrap, and then you can crimp it onto the chain on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all 4 of them. Process is pretty simple. You shove the chain in, and then you tie and squeeze with a, you could use pliers. Once you have all of the chains in, and you have the end wrapped around, oh, sorry, hold up, switch hands. You have the end wrapped around. You can go ahead and grab those pliers, sorry, and crimp. Hold up. Sorry, it's gonna be a little difficult. You grab it and crimp the end, which shouldn't be an issue. But just in case, we want to get those as tight as possible. Don't want anyone falling off. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. You got that going. Got this one. Try and get that as tight as possible without squeezing anything out. All right, got that. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit easier for you guys to do because you got more than one hand, but there we go. We got all 4 of those crimped. And next, we want to go ahead and get a chain piece and tie them all up at the top and have a long chain for your tree. And that is a repurposing of a tire into a tire swing. And here we have the final product of our tire swing. I have it chained up and ready to ride.